Welcome, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Zelda Speedruns and welcome to the Ocarina of Time Randomizer Standard Tournament Season 7. Sorry for the headset, by the way, I had to make a quick switch. Brackets round 2 today, Xavi versus Hyper. We're in game 3, so today we decide the winner of this matchup. Without further ado, because you all want to see the action, let's dive over to the stats page and have a quick update by our commentators, by T Guy and by Barry. Take it away. It's all yours.
Good morning. So, we have a pretty even stats page here. Not a whole lot happening. Both runners very accomplished. Both runners are even against each other. They are 2-2. Last game won by Xavi. So,
yeah, I was having a look at the race times earlier, so they were relatively close races. Both scores came down to a single item. One was a strength 2 hunt for lights, the other really just another one item separating the two. But this is a nice treat for us all. This is not a normal time zone. It's a hard time zone to line up, Europe and Australia, so it's always lovely to get restream in here for the Australian and European fans and all of you degenerates in the US up at this time.
that would be me. So,
but yes, this is game 3. This is all to play for.
Yep. So we got some lovely picks this morning. We have required only overworld tokens, beans planted, and 1 chicken.
Yeah, we have my major ban and my major pick. I'll let you decide which one that is. Hint, it's not overworld tokens. I don't pick that. It is an eclectic mix, required only for those who may not be aware of what it is. In standard settings, the game will attempt to make every single location in the game reachable. With required only, it will only make sure that the items you need to beat the game are accessible. So, you might have Nocturne of Shadow locked behind Shadow Temple.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, inaccessible.
We are off.
And we have a Nocturne of Shadow start, which is good movement.
Mm-hmm.
It tends not to shape seeds, but it does make Dampe digging easier. It's the main advantage of starting with it.
So a whole lot of nothing in Mido.
Mido not providing today, no.
Oh, I mean, 50 rupees is kind of nice.
Yeah, that's... If you don't have any major items in Mido, that's what you want to see, because then you can take that to Lost Woods and get the scrub without having to worry about grinding money.
Right. We are going to see our first hint here.
First.
Graveyard to Baronade is our first hint.
Well, that is nice to have Nocturne as your starting song. As I said, Dampe digging is awkward to handle at the best of times.
And team Don't Buy a Shield is going to win today. Nice free Hylian shield there. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, starting with a shield, don't have to spend money on it. It's interesting that we're seeing such a divergence of routes within the first minute.
Right.
Xavi skipped the Kokiri sword chest, but Hyper is heading to Child Kakariko before Lost Woods.
Yeah, and we have 2 of probably the best foolish hints that we could possibly ever see. We have Gerudo Training Grounds and Goron City, both foolish.
Truly, truly blessed. Let's just add, what's the normal good one? Either Shadow or Spirit, add that in.
Yep. GTG counts as a dungeon, so...
Oh, is it GTG? I thought it was just Goron,
no.
you said. Oh, add Lake Hylia in. That's the other good one.
Yeah. Cack foolish.
Oh dear, that is the one we don't want to see. That is Schrodinger's strength. 50
Yeah.
skulls for a strength upgrade.
I was going to ask if that said strength upgrade.
That is when
Like-
you don't want to see in these settings, because with overworld skulls, that's
Mhm.
what, 56 of your skulls in different places.
Mhm.
It makes routing 10 and 20 normally not too bad, because they'll just show up on the way. Once you're getting to the point of having to squeak out 50% of the skulls in the seed, it can get tricky to route.
Mhm.
Then, as chat says, it's required only. We don't even know if 50 might be in logic. It probably is. There's a lot of skull tokens.
Well, with dungeon skulls, it probably is.
Yeah, there's 44 of them. We did start with Nocturne, so it's not like Shadow's going to be... There's less chance of Shadow being completely inaccessible. I don't even know if it's a medallion or not. Do we have any mods in the chat to pin the settings to the chat? Yes, it is required only, overworld tokens, beans are planted, and 1 chicken.
We have Requiem
Very
out
standard
at
miners.
Saria's.
So
Figure I'm
Requiem
dead.
and Nocturne. Requiem and Nocturne straight away. Required only, those can often be in different places than you'd expect, but having them nice and early kind of indicates we might need spirits or shadow.
Bottom of the well to Goma. Okay. Hammerox is a gold skull. In Valley.
One of the many skulls out there.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I wasn't expecting to have to keep track of so many things in the first 5 minutes of the game. Usually runners follow a somewhat similar path.
Mm-hmm.
Prelude of Light on Epona's song is very nice though, with the vanilla child start that puts you in Kakiri Forest. It can be tricky to route your way back into market. You have to care about time of day. If you don't have Sun Song, that can often put you in a place where you're waiting for 30 seconds, a minute outside the market.
Okay, I must be asleep still. That's not what that stone pedestal check said. I'm still asleep. It's okay. I'll wake up here in a second. And it's not going to say fire, water, and shadow. It's going to say something different. Alright. Wake up.
Was Zelda's Lullaby on Requiem, so that's another one that's going to be picked up pretty early.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once Hyper goes back child, at least. Depending on what's in the graveyard here, might be... Hyper might be missing this song for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be the first time we've seen a more thorough Child 1 paying out for a runner this tournament so far. See what this song is. Hyper is going to have to put it off for a while. Song of Storms too. Yeah, Song of Storms, as we do know there is a path hint in bottom of the well. Considering Xavi has picked up Zelda's Lullaby, we might be seeing a bombless dip there. Doesn't make sense for Song of Storms to be there. It's already started bottlenecking our path hints. We've got Graveyard, Path to Baronade, and we've got Song of Storms in the Graveyard, which leads to our Goma hint. The routing really, I think, depends on what's in bottom of the well. What is Xavi going to be picking up here? And is it explosives locked? You know, if it's your first bomb bag in bottom of the well or your first hook shot, then this is working out very well for Xavi. If he goes in and it's, you know, the boomerang, it's probably not going to punish Hyper as much for not having this in his child one. Well, Graveyard is turning up pretty dead, yeah.
Because it's supposed to be. Okay, bad joke, but that leaves Sun's Grave, or it's
Sun's Grave.
Storms.
Yeah. We don't know where Sunsong is.
Oh, I guess we do have Dampe digging also.
True, there is Dampe digging. The indications are, since we've got other things pointing to storms as required for the seed.
Nope, we do have iron boots here.
That was the hovers. Oh no, it's the irons, it was just shiny. Only a sub 10 well. A sub 10 well when he didn't start with Song of Storms.
It is path.
I'm perfectly happy with a bombless well dip if you've got Zelda's Lullaby, because all of the bomb locked checks in this dungeon you can peek, so you know if you're missing a big chest, can come back. There's one big chest there that is not locked. That was that Kakariko to Fountain Ganon?
That's what I saw.
You see me iron boots? I don't think it's going to be that. Minuet of Forest. Is that the Windmill song? I missed when Hyper picked that up.
It would have to be the Windmill song.
Yeah. Yeah, if Xavi's not got it, it must have been the Windmill song. So that's lining up very much with Kakariko being Path to Phantom Ganon, which is unfortunate. It's somewhat of a wasted hit, all things considered. You were always going to pick up that minuet.
Mr. Rufio giving us a stick.
Somebody had buried their precious stick in the coffin in the well. There is our Sun Song on the minuet check, so that Sun Song grave has come into play.
That is a path to Baronade.
That is a path to Baronade, and there's plenty of things opened up with Ruto's letter that could lead to that Kakiri sword before your path to Queen Goma.
Oh, that's right. Bottom of the well is to Goma, but yeah.
But it explains the storms to Baronade, so that's the Baronade path fulfilled by picking that up. See if there's anything else lurking around in here. Maybe just confusing me there with the stick texture. So a question in the chat, I'll go over it again. Required only. Oh, Chuckles has already beat me to it. Thank you, Chuckles.
Yep, we are only guaranteed to be able to get to what we need to be able to get to.
Yeah. And Hyper showing off the main use, in my opinion, of picking up Iron Boots early. It opens up your normally scale-locked shortcuts. Having this access to River and Domain as an adult, it just feels bad walking up River a second time. This is our first dip through River. Didn't realize doing River early as an adult was so controversial a play. I mean, I always did it because I've always done it because 3 hints is just...
Well, and it's even better because we also have pre-planted beans.
That's true, you can just...
So there's an extra guaranteed check in logic. And there's a boomerang.
Boomerang. There is an extra guaranteed check, but you do have to go there as child. I was referring to Adult River. So with
Yeah.
pre-planted beans, it's more of a reason to put off going Adult River. Save it for a child.
Mm.
There was a bottle. Oh, I think there was a boomerang there as well.
Mm-hmm. At the Baronade in Graveyard is the Song of Storms to get Rita's letter. And bottom
Storm
left.
to get you into the well in the first place.
Yep.
So that's a nice Sphere Zero boomerang as well. We don't have access to Jabu at the moment, so we still haven't logically got completion for that yet.
Yep, we
Still
need
need
a
a bomb or a
bomb
scale.
or scale. Yep. I guess child fishing.
Ground fishing, it's a possibility. The thing is, Jabu isn't necessarily required early.
Mm-hmm.
So, for all we know, there's 10 spheres between... That was Sacred Forest Meadow to King Dodongo, I think, there. And then Gerudo something to Twin Rova.
Mm-hmm.
Probably should have been paying attention.
It's either Valley or Fortress. Valley to Twin, okay. So, the KD hint means that we have a hammer somewhere.
Does it?
Yeah, because the... Well, okay, never mind, because the other one was Requiem. Never mind.
Yeah. Should be first bums somewhere.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be first bomb somewhere. I was just... I didn't remember
Oh,
Requiem
yeah,
was out there, so I was thinking, oh, okay, so we have a hammer because your bomb bag's in Wolfos Grotto. But that's not guaranteed.
Could be in the Sunsong Grave and Graveyard as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That is 100% a possibility.
The numbers are pointing towards Requiem, but...
Right.
And the thing is with Hyper, with that Requiem, having picked up the boomerang, it does put Child Spirit into logic.
That is an interesting hint. Skull Mask is fire arrows?
Yeah, I don't think you rush it, but I think that pushes you towards at least picking up the mask.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Nocturne. You've got Nocturne and Prelude nice and early, so Skull Mask isn't really that far out of the way. Nocturne, Prelude, and Minuet, actually.
Ooh, Richard Zenner gave us a shiny.
So there is still out of logic stuff. You can pick up out of logic stuff, but it just means that things aren't required to be accessible. So what are our stones? So a key example of this is that you've got Fire Temple as a stone. That means it's not necessarily possible that you can complete Fire Temple. The boss key might be key locked somewhere higher. The boss key might be with the Volvagia Heart itself.
Mm-hmm.
There's Hyper picking up that Requiem, and...
Oh!
We have a bow. Did Hyper not pick that up?
No, because Hyper warped out immediately.
It's a bold play to skip the silo in Lon Ranch. I mean, you are saving 30-40 seconds, but if something's there, it's a place you're never coming back to.
So that's bad for Hyper, but Xavi also immediately that was Xavi's second trip into Lon, I believe. Because I think Xavi worked out the first time.
No, Xavi just picked up Prelude.
Oh, okay. So
Xavi,
it was Hyper who warped out immediately. Okay.
It was Hyper that's already dipped it.
Yeah, one of them warped out immediately.
Yeah. And that is Dampe Digging dead as well. that it was too unexpected.
That is correct. Hyper did go to Wanlon and warped to Prelude immediately.
So we are currently looking at Requiem or the Wolfos Grotto for our bombs. From a strict number standpoint, that's going to be the Child Spirit, most likely. There is our Ice Arrows. Honestly, with the number of skulls we've got on Overworld Skulls so far, I completely forgot that tokens were on. There's our Ice Arrows. Nobody did pick Blue Fire Arrows, unfortunately, which is always a fun setting. So those are going to be restricted for Volvagia fights and memes only. One thing again here, Hyper is missing the ability to peek that skull in Knight Kakariko. And Kakariko is path. Probably path for Minuet, but, you know, you never know where that hookshot could be until it shows up in your hands. Oh, Xavi. Xavi being scammed, buying a shield, it's just sitting in the Kakiri sword chest, which was skipped. This is not a seed for the shield buyers.
Yep. And Hyper gonna get the rehint here. I believe this is the Bigoron dead rehint. Oh no, it's the Hammerocks rehint.
Not heading into Child Spirits. It is interesting. He is the one that does have the boomerang. Heading for the graveyard hint. I think he's already pieced together that this is the Song of Storms. Personally, I'd have still been dipping Child Spirit in order to take explosives to the bottom of the well. While I said earlier I'm happy enough heading into the well without explosives, if I know a likelihood of where explosives are, probably put it off. The overworld token hunt. Yeah, I can see why you'd want to get the graveyard path done quickly. I mean, you are 20 minutes in and you have the ability to complete every check in the area. I think by this point you've already pretty much assumed from your song layout the Song of Storms is going to be there. But you might not know whether you need explosives for the graveyard, or for the bottom of the well check that you know is in there.
Gonna grab the skull here.
This is another one that has nothing today.
Not check. Sungrave is kind of interesting because that is a bomb bag location. However, improbable.
Aye. I mean, it is a possibility, so you know you do have to cover your possibilities hidden in Ocarina of Time Randomizer.
It's one out of not many, but and there's our second Goron City Foolish hint.
Xavi picking up the boomerang himself. Again, in a similar situation, Jabu is completable, but you can't get into it yet.
I'm not going to be able to get this skull here, but we'll be able to at least peek it. Is that light arrow?
There's some money. Ah, it was a gold rupee. Big money, but not required. Haunted Wasteland
Wasteland is
eggs.
still dead.
You're gonna see Xavi go into ice, or ponder deeply?
Ponder the...
You're 22.5 minutes in. You've got pondering time to spare. Should be pretty glad at this point that there are no bombs required for anything in Bomb of the Well. No, he had already picked that. He'd already peeked the Zora's Domain. Oh, it could have been the Zora's Domain skull. It's a long time to wait, though. It's a full day.
Hyper receiving the stick ended up being an upgrade. That's good.
It is nice, you don't know where that Kakiri's sword is. I mean, we've got a hint that we've already started to fulfill, but Ruto's letter locks Queen Goma isn't necessarily the most informative, especially when it's early game. That can spiral out into a long path very easily. If you put a hook shot in...
Ice.
Yeah, I mean, if you put a hook shot in ice and a bomb bag in Jabu, you have quickly unlocked most of the game for your Kakiri sword. What we haven't seen yet, and I think we might see from Hyper before the end, is do you see a Child Valley play? Or do you see waiting?
I mean,
as an adult. Because you can reverse there as an adult.
You can reverse there as an adult, but I would probably do it as child. Just because you know it's either the waterfall or it's the crate.
The hammer. It was
Hammer
the
rocks
valley.
dead.
Hammer rocks. Yeah. I knew one of the hammer ones was hinted dead. Couldn't remember. Oh yeah, Goron City's foolish, so it had to be the valley one.
You can still receive a Goron City maze hint. Is foolish though, or is dead? If the
I don't believe so. I think it picks the foolishes first, and then if the only one that you can get on that is, you know, you can get a Death Mountain Foolish and the Big Goron hint, but sometimes they're...
Okay.
It's just the order of operations.
Xavi finding out about the 50 strength.
Yeah, we do have Spirit as a medallion, so we do need to pick up 2 strengths, at least. Archery look easy.
Deek.
And there's the prize. An unsharpened arrow. Hyper just showing off game knowledge there. Picking up the skull token with a big chest. One of the small set of tricks that is dependent on a chest size matches content.
That is a key in the basement.
Xavi had finished counting the keys for that one. Well, there was a big divergence right at the very start. They've really covered each other's ground. They're in very similar situations. It's what the bow between them.
Yeah, and it's a pretty significant bow, given it's in Lon's silo.
It is. There are 2 more out there, though.
Yep.
I do know that Hyper did pick up the iron boots, though. Oh yeah, you have to burn sticks to pick up the bugs at the moment because you don't have strength, you don't have bombs, you don't have a sword. If any, could have used the boomerang to cut the grass, but with a stick upgrade.
Okay.
We are seeing that Xavi has picked up this boomerang nice and early, has a bottle for bugs nice and early. That puts a lot of the overworld skull situation into play as far as child goes.
It's like, is Xavi going to be taking a trip back to Chow?
Considering Xavi's already fulfilled the graveyard and bottom of the well paths, I wouldn't be surprised to see him power through the remaining 2 and clear out Child Spirit and Gerudo Valley. I mean, for all we know, this bomb bag could be miles out of the way. The bomb bag could be an adult spirit, locked behind the 50 skulls. I've had, even without the overall tokens in play, I've had 50 skull strength being the first strength, which locked bombs. So it is possible the logic does have awkward situations.
Oh!
There's a hook shot.
Ugh. Nasty.
It's nasty, but I don't see anyone missing that. You know, you're seeing Xavi picking up the bugs there, is about to go through the same process. You know, they're picking up bugs before they go to Valley, so they can do the bean patch down there as well. That's not something you want to skip as a child.
So there's 3 checks in Valley, which they're gonna all do, but...
Yeah, I forgot about that when I asked the question of do you go child as adult. Yeah, you 100% go child when there's a child-only check. Yes, so as we see in the chat, we do have a blessed set of Foolish Hints today. Oran City is probably my favourite overworld Foolish. Gerudo Training Grounds is probably my favourite dungeon Foolish. Xavi pushing the Valley Skull as quickly as possible. Don't hate it, you know, yeah, you're gonna have to do this at some point anyway.
And it's likely a strength.
Yeah.
With it being Path to Rova.
It could be the pair of shields. It's not necessarily a useful item. I can see Xavi also picking up the bugs before heading to Requiem a Spirit to do the bean patch there, as that is also a Requiem locked check.
Mm-hmm.
Four valley checks.
Right. Overworld tokens.
Let's add 2 to the
Uh,
adult side. Though.
5. Yeah, because there's. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, 4 is a child and 2 is adult.
Yeah.
You can tell that I did 3 of the Season 7 qualifiers and then started a new job and gave up.
That is
More sticks. See if we can peek through the waterfall. Generally, my rule of thumb here is if I can see it, I don't need to pick it up, because shiny objects tend not to be useful.
That is a scale.
Scale. That is a scale. We could be looking at bombs in Jabu or Ice then. We do have Ruto's letter being pathed to something that isn't Baronade. And we now have access to complete the whole of Jabu. And Ice.
Yeah.
And Fountain, really. Yeah, and Fountain. We've got the, other than the special skull as adult Fountain.
Stands in. Oh.
As Din's fire in Lon Lon. Does explain why Hyper was putting off going into the silo, heading in with the boomerang later. And if that boomerang was late, if that boomerang was bow locked, it could have been an awkward one.
Mm-hmm.
Full of arrows. Yeah, I'm thinking these bombs are behind Ruto's letter now. That these hints are all very much bottlenecking you around. Well, not the bombs, but something big is behind Ruto's letter here, needing the scale to hand it in.
Yeah, but we do have Jabu access now, logic.
Yeah, we've got Jabu access and we've got Ice access.
Mm-hmm.
We've got access to yeah, we've got access to everything except that one skull in Adult Fountain. All of the Ruto's letter lock checks.
Yep. And we're seeing Sarius is on Burning Cack, so Minuet is definitely path for logical forest access.
Yep, so that is another one of our paths fulfilled. Both players do have the boomerang and do have Ruto's letter is the word I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So both will be able to just head straight into domain, do domain, into fountain. Oh no, we don't have access to everything in fountain. We don't have access to the fairy fountain.
Nope.
Now, me being a man after my own heart here, being very thorough with these overworld skull clears.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't gone to the one that has the hook shot yet, but with Minuet in hand, I don't think we are going to see him miss that.
Mm-hmm.
There's access to all but 2 bean patches in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well get as many of them out as you can. So shout outs to me saying that, generally speaking, if the waterfall item's shiny, you don't need it. And then the game picking the path item being the one shiny thing that is useful.
Yep. Hyper also picking up another stick upgrade there.
Yep, Xavi has seen both stick upgrades and walked right by both of them.
To be fair, doing the boomerang trick for the one in
Yeah.
I understand, but
You'd probably have seen Xavi pick that one up.
lens on
if he had the
child
boomerang.
fishing. Okay.
Yeah, it exists. Nothing's in play yet until we get magic.
Mm-hmm. And it can only do one check for us.
Yeah. Is there anything pointing towards lens? It's not a lake path or anything.
No.
As you said, it at this point it's only useful for the treasure chest minigame.
Yeah, because the only other thing it could be really useful for is logical wasteland access, and we already have Requiem.
Yeah, and we got Requiem right at the start.
Yeah.
These path hints look to be centralizing around the early game, so this one's really going to come down to late game routing, I think.
Sorry, what was the
There's a
bomb bag?
in
River?
River Beyond
No.
Water Temple.
No.
That makes sense. We don't have summertime. Summertime's probably quite far out of the way anyway. We just know that summertime's bomb locked. It's nice to know there's a bomb bag there, because it means you don't need to go through the river, but it doesn't help us beat the Dongo. Because all it does is confirm that it's not actually reachable with a bomb bag. Without one. Mr. Dongo's light medallion.
Yep. Our path to KD also could be a strength for a vanilla bomb bag. That always is a possibility.
Yeah. We shall never know until we either get a hammer to check the Wolfos Grotto or dip into Child Spirit and the Colossus Bean Badge.
Xavi grabbing the emotional support fishy.
Oh, unfortunately, that's not the emotional support fishy. That is our sacrifice.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Fish will be munched. Will be crunched. But all for a good cause. All for a good cause.
Bomb shoot.
The hookshot is on the first bean patch in the Lost Woods. So the one next to the by the bridge. Don't think we're going to see Xavi miss it. It's just that Hyper went round the bean patches anti-clockwise. Xavi went round the bean patches clockwise. So I would highly expect to see Xavi go through those bean patches after being Jabu.
There's another SFM to DC hint. Very nice child fishing from Hyper.
Both players really pulling that one off quickly. They do make it look easy to pull the lure in that close.
It is
as someone who fails every single time.
I get it about 1 out of 10 tries, and then 9 out of 10 it's just like, you thought I was gonna grab onto this, I'm gonna run back here.
Yeah.
Setting up Scarecrow. Good.
Yep, this is pre-planted beans, so free Scarecrow isn't as useful. But we've seen races already decided by either Pierre Check and Fire Temple. wild pre-planted beans were on.
Yep.
You know, you can bypass most of the scarecrow stuff with pre-planted beans, but not all of it. No, nothing's pointing us at Fire Temple so far. It is a stone. It is a stone, and you don't even know how far you can go through it.
We have stone, fire, water, and shadow, and required only.
Yeah, it's worrying. Although with that in mind, I think there's a decent chance that Song of Time is vanilla, and that's why that bomb bag in water is inaccessible.
Mm-hmm.
At which point that hint really exists to taunt you.
Like, neener. Here's one. Tend you're never going to be able to get it.
I guess if it is Song of Time, one thing you could draw from that is that Song of Time is inaccessible because you've got a hook shot, you've got Iron Boots,
Mm-hmm.
you've got Zelda's Lullaby. But at that point, it doesn't tell you which of the dungeons is uncompletable, and you don't know how far through them you can get anyway, so it is not particularly useful information. Because
Well,
you
it
could
would
then say, oh, well, I don't need to go do the Song of Time locked stuff in Gerudo Training Ground, but that's already hinted dead.
Yeah, and that could be a big reason why it's dead too. Is since you don't have
Yeah.
you normally need Song of Time to make sure that you can get all 9 keys into logic.
And the toilet. Just
Yep.
generally,
Poopy check.
yeah, 1 item minimum, usually 4 items locked, maybe 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
My Blitz race yesterday, literally every single item in the maze was Song of Time locked. Yeah, I dislike it. I dislike the logic. So we are expecting something decent sized here in the Hein Ruto's letter. Because Ruto's letter locks Queen Goma somehow. Isn't quite clear how yet.
So if we
had
don't,
bottom of the well path. Go ahead.
I was gonna say if we don't find anything here. Oh wait, no, Deku's force med. Damn, that doesn't work. Yeah, we should
You know what we could see?
Yeah.
You know what we could see? If we see a Kakiri sword here,
Mm-hmm.
it was Sacred Forest Meadow. Sacred Forest Meadow had Requiem. Requiem's given us Zelda's Lullaby. So this King Dodongo hint could well be pointing to Zelda's Lullaby. We have potentially 2 songs unlocked by Ruto's letter here. If Kakiri sword is around.
Mm-hmm.
If Song of Time is there, we might be looking at that bomb bag in Water Temple being the first logical bombs.
Yeah. That would put Song of Time out in ice.
Yeah. Or on the Prelude. If Kakiri sword out here, because we still do have Ruto's letter leading to Queen Goma somehow.
Yeah. The only place it can't be is on OOT. And that make first bomb bag.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's awkward. It's yeah, it's a very awkward place for a first bomb bag, but it's hinted. If that's the case, then pretty much all of our hints are leading towards that one bomb bag. So Song of Storms for Baronade to get the Ruto's letter. Ruto's letter for Goma to get whatever is here. And Requiem, Scale, all point towards this one bomb bag.
Yeah. I was thinking Deku was on the Shadow Medallion. I'm like, it could just be simply just to beat Jabu, and then you have because Burning Cactus Saria's, so but that doesn't work since Deku's Force Med, so it can't be behind Saria's.
Haven't seen a strength yet, though.
Nope.
I know when I'm playing seeds like this, it does begin to creep up on you.
Mm-hmm.
There's the ever looming threat of that strength on 50 skulls.
Mm-hmm. Hardest mini boss in the game as a child.
Step away for a second. Did I miss anything with Big Octo?
He's dead.
Wow, that was fast.
Got it. Xavi did not have
Oh,
to chase
it
him
may
around for
not-
very long.
Yeah, it may not be as well known as Double Forest or Double Shadow, but Double Jabu is just as boring. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
The one benefit it has is that you don't have to get it for long.
Right. Whereas Double Forest, you're in it for the long.
Xavi pulling off the box skip there, which I don't believe in because box skip isn't real. I refuse to believe it exists. If it existed, then I'd be able to do it. I can't, so it doesn't. Xavi has been a lot more, as far as I can see, a lot more proactive with these dungeon skulls, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually been paying that much attention to Hyper's dungeon movement.
Hyper's been doing.
We did see him. Yeah. We did see him pulling off the chest size brick to get the one out of the lifelike cage in the well. And this is the best boss in the game as far as execution goes.
Mm-hmm. At least visually, getting it right.
Oh, it's not easy to get right, but it feels good.
Yes.
You know, other bosses might look easier or also have strats, but none of them feel as good to do as Baronade.
Yeah. Very, very good Baronade. Very clean.
Just appeals to the animal side of your brain, hitting all of the jellyfish at once.
Mm-hmm. Just a plurple rupee.
Jabu has come up empty, which it does in basically every seed. It's an unusual seed where Jabu actually comes into play other than the medallion. The KD1 cycle.
Yeah, that
You
is.
still haven't
That's
shown
got to
me
be
the YouTube
very
video on you
cathartic.
doing that. Yeah. Still haven't posted the video of you doing that, Chuckles.
Yeah, send me a link to that. I'd love to know how to one cycle KD.
This is my least favorite skull in the game.
It's dead.
Not necessarily, Magnus. Well, you're right that it lies behind, or on any of them. The longer we go, the more convinced I am that Song of Time is on ice.
Oh, there's our last foolish. Rip strength 3.
Was that sorry?
OGC is dead.
OGC Fairy.
Yep, that is.
Oh, we don't have
foolish.
lights, so Strength 3 is not necessarily dead yet.
Okay. Inside Ganon's castle's totally in logic, but outside is foolish. So
Ah, so it was Xavi.
it
who's
occurred
the
to
one
me
who's trying to
how
pick the card
Xavi
only.
blew up that wall, but he has a bomb shoe, so
Yeah.
I have figured that out.
I don't think it's worth taking those bombs to Dongo's cavern yet. Not until you have a strength, personally. I know you can beat King Dodongo with the bomb shoes, but you know your bomb bag might be out of the way. I don't think it's particularly... I don't think it's particularly useful to go out of logic in that particular way. It does cost you a lot of shoes. It's only a light medallion you get for beating Dongos.
So I'm gonna pick up the skull that he left here earlier. Is up to 14 now?
Yep, heading down river now. Can clear out the remaining skulls.
Did not see how many hyper was up to. I know he's between 10 and 20.
Yeah, in that region. It's not the seed you want 50 skulls to be required for. With overworld tokens, it's not easy to root skulls. Both runners pulling off very smooth marinades. Again, making it look easy. It's quite strict timing on a lot of it. You know, I think one thing that I never appreciated in the past is overworld tokens kind of removes a lot of the questions from standard that revolve around
Xavi buying
revolve around what age do I do this area in. I think Xavi may have just forgotten that the Bean Man is only a check in shuffled beans, not pre-planted beans. The only reason the Bean Man gets made into a check is because you are shuffling an extra item into the pool. Nothing has been shuffled into the pool with pre-planted beans. We're heading back for the other skull. Again, this is my least favourite skull because of how far out of the way it is if you can't beat Jabu, and generally speaking it's just awkward. And I always forget it. We're going to see Hyper follow Xavi into Child Spirits. Oh, it was the 20 pack. Knew they were choose, I didn't realise it was the full 20 pack.
Yeah, that does make that DC play suck a lot less, but that's still a lot of choose.
Yeah. Again, I still wouldn't be doing it. And not just because I can't do King Dodongo with choose. Another trick that I refuse to believe exists.
I can do the first one. Getting that second one consistently sucks. Mostly because I suck at back walking in a straight line.
Yeah, my controller doesn't approve back walking in a straight line. Abby, accepting defeat. Now, we are seeing Hyper being the first to dip into Sacred Forest Meadow. Does this make the logic much easier. Is this just a bomb bag here?
Mm-hmm. It is not.
Nope, so it is definitely Requiem.
Mm. Until we see Sungrave, I will not confirm that.
We have seen Sunsgrave. It
Oh,
was,
we did?
it was nothing.
Okay,
Yeah.
then yes, it is Requiem.
Genuinely, if there isn't a bum bag here in Child Spirits, I am now convinced that the Water Temple bum bag is our first.
Mm-hmm.
While it might sound unlikely, really you don't need bombs for that much. If a hammer exists, your bomb bag can be very far out of the way. And anyone who plays Triforce Blitz will have stories of seeds with 15, 16 step bomb bags. So, Hyper a little bit further ahead than Xavi on the skulls, but Xavi is catching up. Hyper was the first to hit 10 by quite a margin. Now that Hyper's hit 20, Xavi's at 17, that gap's kind of closed. Yep, 50 strength, that is always a concern.
Bomb back?
Is this just the bombs?
Yep.
Yeah, there's our bombs.
Yep, my guess for where bomb bag was going to be in this where
Now, does Xavi continue cleaning up Child? We are magic and firelock now. One thing to note is that does free up the Wise Scale path situation again. It is. Does Xavi continue cleaning up Child and pick up that hookshot in Lost Woods? Or does he take those bombs and rush progress into Donger's Cavern? Does he pick up something else here? It's unlikely we need a long shot. There may well be a hook shot sitting out there. And there's our first strength.
Also fulfilling that path.
Which path, sorry?
Oh wait, no, that doesn't fulfill a path for Rover.
Yeah, it hasn't fulfilled the Twin Rover path. It might have led towards the King Dodongo one, but with the bombs rendered that.
Right. So how does scale?
Where does Xavi go from here? True bowling?
Yeah. Could be mirror shield on like lap dive or something stupid.
Yeah, that's very fair. Because you no longer need the scale to hand in.
Din's is on the gold skull in lawn line outside of the silo.
Nate Lon. One thing to note is that that Requiem has locked both ways into Jabu.
Mm-hmm.
Though that doesn't explain why the scale would be path. No.
Nope.
Okay.
Emotional support
Fish.
Okay. Opting not to go for the skull, I can understand that.
Does look like Xavi is going to be missing out on that hook shot for the next adult section. Doesn't mean he won't find another hook shot, but...
Yeah, which is a little unfortunate, but...
It is unfortunate, but we know that Bean Patch Skulls are in his mind. He's still got a bottle full of bugs.
We're going to be turning in 10 and 20 here. And
This is what ruined me in Season 6. This is what ruined me in Season 6. Waiting till I had 20 skulls. Go hand in 10.
Oh. Because 10 was
Number of
always
times
like,
something
hey, here's
was...
your
Yeah.
free hook shot.
By the way, here's your Din's Fire that you were looking for while hoovering up these skulls.
Dins isn't here. Oh, you mean
More Yeah, that was the particular thing that burnt me in Season 6.
Gotcha. I was like,
There are
Dins isn't here.
more
What are you
cheese.
talking about?
It's another...
5
That was 5-pack. We know that's not hugely useful anymore, but we don't know when Hyper's going to be heading to Child Spirit. Although that bomb bag does now confirm that Song of Time is out of the way. It's most likely Song of Time on the All Dungeons check. Or the long shot's inaccessible, one of the two.
Okay, Hyper going out to Colossus. The right click.
It makes sense, clearing up this Requiem path.
Now the question is Hyper going to clear, or is he going to dip immediately seeing the bomb?
I think once you've already started climbing,
Yeah, you just go.
you just do it.
That is a recovery heart there.
We can clear out all of the useful checks in Trail.
That looks like a small chest on the side wall.
Yeah, it was a small one.
Mostly because I didn't see the chest, so it had to be small.
It didn't immediately jump into the beam. You're getting bullied slightly by the Armos, but... He has made the leap forward on progression, but is missing that hook shot. Will that hook shot come into play? Because Hyper now can, if Hyper does pick up this strength, Hyper can now go and complete Forest Temple as well.
Yeah.
And jump ahead in progress.
It may not matter. Let's see. Oh, so Hyper would have gotten
Just another
bailed
bow.
out there. In the event that he didn't go back to the Lon Sala.
Yeah. I mean, he was always going back to the silo. It was more a gamble that the boomerang was early. Which it tends to be in Overworld Skull Seeds. I mean, the reason I hate Overworld Skulls is because every single time it gets rolled for me, Sun Song is very deep.
Right. Which makes skull riding a nightmare.
Yeah. I just don't want the risk of having that again. This cavern not really coming out with anything today.
Kinda doing it because you gotta. Got 2 more checks in DC.
I'm trying to remember my spirit logic. Does it mean that strength is magic locked? Because we had a magic locked key. I think it must be, because you must need 5 keys to get there as child. So it has to assume you need to do it as an adult. Or use the magic to get that key. So one way or another, yeah, you do need magic and fire. We already do have the fire through Din's Fire in Lodon Ranch. There's another big into Dongos. It's Din's Blue Fire. Light stick.
Hyper not getting his.
Yeah, unfortunately you need the flame for flame storage. Do it all the time.
He's just practicing.
It's surprisingly strict timing.
Well, the second time he didn't pull the stick out before you.
Yeah, it's surprisingly strict timing. You do need to pull the stick out as you go in. It does need to be pretty close the second you open the door. You see bait? Not necessarily. It's a medallion dungeon. You need to do it at some point. For all you know, the hookshot was in there.
Hyper gonna be rewarded with the strength here.
We see him just go straight to forest. I think we do. Which also makes sense. It's incredibly quick to get to forest because you got minuet. You need to do it at some point. Just rattle it out.
Yeah, and I mean, while DC's probably faster, I don't see you going to DC before you go to forest in this case.
See you go to DC afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, it's the same amount of time. You need to walk to Dodongo's Cavern. You need to play Minuet. Whichever order you do, you're spending the exact same amount of time. And it looks like we're getting forest first. I'll be cleaning up the rest of Lost Woods. Unfortunately, he has the wrong age to get that hookshot.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, while Xavi's early game routing was a bit more thorough, the areas Hyper left out in that first Child 1, saving them for when he had a bottle and the boomerang coming back to them has paid out, being able to clear more of them at once. Well, Xavi is having to come back later on multiple times, leading away time.
We're gonna get our first peek at Chaos Storms. We got it. I didn't see
Lero in all dungeons.
Okay.
An interesting one.
Okay.
Does not explain why the bomb bag in Water Temple isn't accessible. I think that's probably bad news for Xavi. It leads me towards believing that the long shot is probably quite far out of the way. Or maybe it's the Kikiri sword that's far out of the way. Haven't seen ice yet. Really, it's going to need to be ice that leads to that Kikiri sword. One way or another. And speak of the devil, looks like that's where we're going. You know, I gotta throw these references out, Chuckles. Completely unintentionally. It's just naturally Blondie on the brain. Fair, it's easier to put Speak of the Devil in as a reference than Heart of Glass. And this Snore's Domain Skull, unforgotten so often, is just a vanilla skull. Starting with, or picking up a bottle with blue fire in it. Always feels good because you can just defrost King's Orin immediately.
Assuming you don't accidentally pour it out.
Once we find another strength, we do have some information about magic. In that, currently our only strength is magic locked. I mean, we could go get the... Okay, that explains our... Bottom of the Well path. There is our Kikiri sword. Ruto's letter does indeed lead to this.
Yep.
Not very helpful Octorok there. And again, that's an unfulfilled path, so I don't think we're going to see Hyper miss that.
Unless he just mispeaks it. Which I don't see that happening.
Yeah, the only thing I've ever mispeaked the Kikiri sword as is a small key. And there aren't many key doors in Fountain. Yep, that's very true. The next piece of progress that Xavi can do is Deku, which is right next to that hookshot.
Now Hyper is talking to this Floor Master here and chopping him into bitty pieces.
Xavi picks up that hookshot while doing Deku, or heading to Deku, or just after Deku, this really is very close. They've done quite different things, but they're going to converge at some point. Once Hyper finishes Forest, he's going to go Ice. It's the one remaining unfulfilled path area.
Yeah.
Once Xavi's done, once Xavi's got that hook shot, he's going to go Forest.
Yeah. The only unfortunate thing here is Xavi's now missing out on these skulls that are pretty easy to collect because he doesn't have a hook.
Yeah, that's true. And Hyper was already ahead on the skulls.
Right, so if those 50 are required, well, we're going to cross our fingers and hope we're not here for 50 skulls, but
even if they're not required. Even if they're not required, they're a known location. They're known. So if that strength 3 is just in a really awkward location, top of stone fire or deep in stone water, picking up 50 is probably faster than last locationing. I don't know why I said probably. It is faster than last locationing. I mean, once you get magic, shadows in play, once you get hammer, fires in play, there's so many things that could lead us astray from a strength 3.
Boss key.
Xavi falling victim to Ice Cavern's awful geometry there. This is the worst dungeon in the game. I will not be taking questions.
I will die on this hill. Please leave me to die.
Yeah. The fact that it's dungeon skulls he's missing is particularly bad because with overworld tokens on, you don't know where they're going to be. You can't just go on a nice little sweep without, you could go on a nice sweep, but it involves going back into the dungeons you finished.
I mean, it's okay for routing, I guess.
Yeah. Then we don't know where the mirror shield is. That can still lead us around the world, giving Xavi a better chance to pick up skulls.
Prelude is either Song of Time or Horsey's Song, and whichever one it isn't is sitting in the volcano. And we got a big chest on Hyper side. I mean, okay, those are
our lights.
Half.
And that does mean Strength 3 is dead.
Yep.
Which, I mean, is somewhat nice, but if you're gonna have to pick up Strength 2 on 50 anyway. Yeah, it's not necessary that Strength 3 is even accessible at all. Strength 3 could be in Light Trial. Now that we know we don't need it, there's just as equal amount of chance that there is no Strength 3. Although a good thing for Xavi fans is that he is skipping that Bean Skull. He has looked at the Bean Skull, is skipping it, which indicates to me that he's saving all that up for after beating Deku. Which would mean that he's picking up that hook shot, and we're somewhat evening up. Other than skull count, we'll be pretty much even. Big straightaway in Deku.
Okay.
Oh well, it's not too useful in this one. I mean, regardless of what item lands here in Deku, here in Forest, it's things that the other player's going to pick up. There's no way they're going to miss it. And with the item sets they have, they're going to be heading there pretty quickly. Hyper might be getting a Forest ahead of Xavi, but when you add up the time of walking to and doing Dodongo's cavern, then walking to Ice, and picking up the Kikiri sword, and then doing Deku, that's just as much time as a Forest temple.
Right.
Yeah, Hyper, I've never seen that combination of attacks to beat the pose, but it has worked out very well for him. So, you know, Magnus, my timing is not particularly good, so
That is a what t-shirt?
my Ice and Deku and my Forest may not be a representation of players who know what they're doing. Abby is now officially halfway to a strength 2. Hyper has already hit 30 skulls though. You know, honestly, in required only and overworld skulls on, I could very well see going and doing the skull in the back of the DLC skull in the back of Deku. It is bad, but he's missing the hook shot. He doesn't know how far out of the way that hook shot is. He's already had to skip a decent number of skulls. All of the ones in Ice Cavern. In ideal conditions, you know, of course, you never do the back skull. These aren't ideal conditions, and it does look like he's forsaking the DLC. We're gonna have synchronized boss fights here, as both players pick up their next medallion. Xavi going for his 4th, Hyper going for his 3rd, but we're going to see Hyper heading for that 4th medallion very quickly afterwards, I would see. The list of glitches that are allowed, there are a number allowed. Generally speaking, if Link's hitbox has to clip through some sort of collision, it's not going to be allowed. There we go, Chuckle Snacks. I didn't know there was a command for that. The most important general rule of thumb is that clips where Link goes through something aren't allowed. Oh, we get the special attack. An ideal Phantom Ganon fight, definitely not a bad one. And here we go, we're not seeing Xavi. Well, I would think it's highly unlikely we're seeing Xavi miss the hook shot now. So they are evening up pretty much. Oh, look, another bomb bag. Now, what was bomb locked? What was bomb locked? Avoid picking that up. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's not a bomb locked bomb bag, but it's a strength locked bomb bag. So strength.
No, that is
What
bomb
that means
locked
is
also.
all of our strengths are. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that bomb bag is bomb locked because of where the bomb bag the expected route is you hit the switch with the boomerang, it drops the chest, and that chest is the bomb bag, and then you use the bombs to open up the mirror switch in the room to get to that strength.
Yeah.
So that is bomb locked. As weird as it is.
Unless you go to the adult side, which indicates where our other strengths might be, which isn't a great sign. It kind of indicates that the other strength is elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's looking more and more like this 50 skull strength is our strength too. Yep, this is the expected ice play from Hyper. It was either going to be Dodongo's Cavern or ice, and really it doesn't matter which way around you do it. Here is, does Hyper go in and do ice? And I can see skipping ice.
Interesting.
Heading past Mido. Oh yeah, heading past Mido for the skull in the Deku Theater.
Oh, yep.
And they've synced up, 7 years apart. Yeah, that's true, you don't skip ice when you haven't got a mirror shield. And you know it's unlikely you're getting a mirror shield tinted.
Yep.
Actually, you might... Has that scale been fulfilled?
No.
No. As far as I'm aware. Or do you want to go do lab dive?
Well, here's the
iron
funny
boots.
thing. We still have 2 unchecked checks. And Gorilla Valley also. We're also just under the assumption that it is, in fact, the scale, and not Mirror Shield sitting on one of the 2 skulls that we saw in the check because they're adult only.
That's true, we immediately assumed it was the scale, because at the time we didn't have the bum bags, and had our Jabu kit early.
Yep.
But you're definitely right that we can just have Mirror Shield sitting on one of the 2 skulls on the fortress side. Which we can cheese without Epona.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeing Hyper about to pick up Epona here in the crater. It's not usually you see the crater being the last song anyone knows, but when you don't have a hookshot, you don't have a Lero, and you don't have hover boots, there isn't a way to get there.
Yep.
I think that was an arrow. Is that a long shot? Either an arrow or a long shot there on the crater.
I would say given that
Even the Hyper hasn't gone back.
Hyper didn't grab it immediately while he was next to it. So it's probably arrows.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, if it was the long shot, there's no real way for you to have reacted in time. You only saw the point of it.
Since we kind of skipped
Hyper going for...
But
Yeah,
happy
skipping a long shot.
happy 1.5 hours.
The 1 hour 32 minute. It's the new.
Yeah.
It's the new 1 hour.
Yep. Fashionably late. But yeah, make sure you give our runners a follow, Xavi and Hyper. Thank you for our trackers, Lady Draco and Blue Roses for you. Thank you to my co-com, Chloe. And then restreaming for us is Trez. Thank you, Trez.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for joining me on the comms booth. The question in chat.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
What was that?
Oh, those are dead. Those were eye drops. But
Yeah. Goron was hinted dead already. To answer the question in chat, yes. But Graveyard was Storms to go get Ruto's letter. Bottom of the well was the Ruto's letter to get Kakiri's sword in Fountain. We don't know the Gerudo Valley yet. We're thinking Scale. We've got 2 checks left. Sacred Forest Meadow was Requiem to go get a Strength 1. So, yep, with Requiem locking bombs. This is looking very awkward.
Yep.
This is looking like a situation where there aren't actually that many skulls in the world. You know, one of our strengths is in Requiem for bums in Sacred Forest Meadow, but if bums are required to get the strength, then it indicates that another strength 2 is unlocked.
Yep. Child Valley was checked. The only thing we found there is a scale so far, but we still are missing 2 gold skull checks to confirm that is, in fact, what the path item is.
With Iron Boots, Sphere 0, and with the bombs not scale locked, really the only thing left for that scale is Lab Dive.
Yep.
Last Phantom Ganon is Minuet. Saria's song is on Burning Cack, which is locked behind Forest Temple. You needed the Minuet to even get to Forest Temple.
We're up to 36 skulls for Hyper. Sorry, chat. I don't have the remote. I can't fast forward this for you.
Was muted for all of that.
Mm.
Yeah, we do have Xavi, and we have Hyper at 37 skulls now. I don't think we saw him go do the child side skulls in Cavern, did we?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it is interesting. We do know that there is a strength on 50. If you're already at 37, you're only 13 away. Personally, I'd be forsaking the idea that might pull strength 3 from somewhere. Just accept your fate. Rush those 20, rush those 13 more skulls. Yeah, Hyper will get 3 more skulls from ice, but getting 2 extra will bring you up to 42, and then you only need to care about 8 more skulls. So we're kind of running out of locations for multiple skulls. There's single stuff here and there. As bad it is pre-planted bean, not free scarecrow. This is why you do lab dive first, so you can set the scarecrow.
Oh, it can confirm a path first, too. Whether or not that skull is. Something interesting enough.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta throw yourself into the boulder. It's excess mental effort to try and avoid it. Green empty, straight line. Hyper's pulled every stick in the game, and both stick upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second, I'm gonna go put on a jumper, as February is cold.
Oh. Okay. Not really what you want to see.
I do see people saying worrisome in these settings. What did I miss while clothing myself?
You know that skull that you usually route in, that's the last one for adult, that's just kind of up there? How's a
sitting on Impa
hammer?
Roof. Nice, a hammer. That definitely helps with skulls. Chances are we can go a little bit higher. Yeah, Hammer Rocks is dead, so it's either the scale or one of the two skulls in Valley.
So we know this is a nice play.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll see that hammer come into effect, since the Hyper is going to ice, which definitely makes sense, that's filling a path. But Bolero is very far out of the way. Bolero requires going back into the crater, so if you're going to use the hammer, you're going to have to walk there.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one more skull that we haven't seen yet. Let's see it be the hover boots. Because there are still two outstanding items with no real pathing. We don't have a mirror shield and we don't have magic yet. It could be magic in the valley. We have already confirmed that Spirit Temple is magic logged.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I was meaning when I was saying that Hyper had a much more unique Poe killing strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Xavi uses the same one I do, which is one bow shot, just to ram the Poe into the corner. Yeah, don't worry, I forgot about magic until about 90 seconds ago, so I didn't need to tell anyone that I forgot about it. I get to still look like I know what I'm talking about. Xavi about to pick up these lights, which would be a relief knowing that Strength 3 isn't required, but 2 hours and 6 minutes in, I don't think it's that big a relief.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might still be ready to accept your fate that this is a 50 seed. Soon the scoreboard may say that Xavi has 5 medallions. It doesn't mean the 6th one's coming easy.
Mm-hmm.
They are by far the most annoying enemy.
Looks like a heart piece.
Yeah, that was a heart piece. Not even a container. Useless. Not that we'd need a container, we've done very well for hearts. It's a very healthy seed too. Don't often see 8 hearts being picked up without Fire Temple being a requirement.
Because really 5 is the absolute minimum
Yeah.
for most runners before they'll even think about fire.
Some will just stop entirely once they get a bottle. Accept that, you know, I don't need 5 hearts to beat Volvagia if I pick up a fairy. 4 will do.
$40.
Inching ever closer. It'll be reaching either 44 or 45 or 46 by the time he beats Deku. Getting good shape for skull rooting from Hyper's side anyway. Not too much of a stretch to get those last 4.
It looks like there may be one right over there. Yep. So there's an extra one that Xavi didn't do.
Yeah, I would say that the likelihood of Hyper picking up the skull in the back of Deku might be higher, because I think there was at least one skull in Deku in a chest. Definitely one in the slingshot room. So you're talking about getting up to 48, 49 in Deku. At that point, it's a slow skull, but you know it's there. Might be worth just sacrificing those extra seconds for having it confirmed you can get that.
There's another one too.
Yeah. Don't remember what was on the Iron Boots chest, actually.
Iron Boots chest, I think, Rupee. Or
yeah, Rupee,
a
okay.
Rupee of some kind.
Hyper's gonna have about the length of a Deku. 2 age changes and a Deku tree to catch up on skulls. I think in an overrolled skulls seed, I think that might be a bit of a stretch. And that was what, 37, I think? Xavi? 13 skulls in not many minutes. You can't even rely on Spirit Temple for them.
Interesting.
You'd be seeing
Hyper not picking up the song, but did Hyper also not? I don't remember if
Hyper has got Kiri Sword, yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. I didn't know if Hyper checked the Colossus Fairy when he got bombs. Skipping Colossus Fairy when you're sitting right there.
Yeah. Where we get the Wasteland Skull. How many skulls are we talking left? I've never seen a full Valley Cross. No Wasteland Skull either.
Just to confirm the what's it called? Confirm what the path is to.
Yeah.
Robo.
Well, you do have the hint that there's something in Valley. It's quite bold to skip the Wasteland Skull.
Well, oh, right.
You know you've got one thing that's unhinted.
Right, because Wasteland isn't foolish, it's just the check in Wasteland.
Yeah.
Xavi doesn't have opponent because Xavi hasn't been to Crater yet.
Yeah. We don't have Bolero, we don't have Hover Boots, and that hookshot came in very late for Xavi. There is our magic, so there's a Mirror Shield somewhere.
Yeah. This is hinted.
It's hinted, but it was hinted a skull.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Clearing out Goron City. Makes sense, it's a foolish,
Jesus. Well,
but there's our Hover Boots. That's
either one of those could honestly fulfill that spirit path.
yeah, it's not what you want to see. You don't want to see what has unlocked potentially Fire Temple completion and Shadow Temple completion. You know you don't need to do all dungeons, but that doesn't mean you don't need to go into all dungeons. Magic doesn't 100% fulfill it necessarily, because there is a second one out there. Fired only, decent chance you don't need it, but yeah, Shadow is probably your best play. Actually, no, it's 100% your best play because you've got Nocturne, you warp right next to the dungeon. All your other stone dungeons are not only less dense, but you have to walk to it.
And Hyper bounced out of
Yeah,
ice
stick.
before grabbing Serenade, too.
We're not in go mode yet. We're still missing a Mirror Shield. Living in the future. Tell us your secrets, Darren.
That's still my favorite scrub in the deck entry.
The one before the slingshot chest.
Yeah. Because he tells you, hey, did you know if you jump off a really high place, you might not hurt yourself? Smile.
Might not hurt yourself if you immediately land on your face.
Exactly. It's like, hey, go, yeah, if you don't believe me, go try it.
Yeah, the eye drops are right next to Big Goron. Unfortunately, it isn't always hint, so we are told it was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a skull to pick up. This really is the make or break time for Xavi. How fast can you pick up 10 skulls?
Hyper picking up his, what, t-shirt?
like he will be going to get that hammer. Not the item he wants to see. Not what he wants to see, but what he's gonna get. And there was a skull down here too. Well, it doesn't look like we're gonna get the DC skull. I think Hyper was probably rooting it, but does not need to anymore. He's about to hit his 50th skull.
Yep. And that's 50.
So this has definitely put Hyper ahead now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely bailed by that chest skull. We all wanted to see the DLC room. For the fans. For the fans.
Hyper is not going to go for the back of Deku's skull.
The thing is, with Xavi in cleanup mode, looking for probably skulls at this point, might just happen to encounter the mirror shield. Spiders in the overworld are shuffled at the moment, so they can be other stuff. The dungeon skulls can't. Like that, they are evened up on medallions. The mirror could be on worst skull. We know that Fountain is definitely not foolish. They had the Kikiri sword.
It cannot be on worst skull. Oh, wait. Yeah, it can be on worst skull, because strength 2 would be... Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Carry on. Ignore me.
The only thing we know is that Mirror Shield is not mirror locked.
Yeah.
No Castle 3.
Nah, you have storms. AC3 isn't terrible. It's out of the way, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, it's worst skull that's still the worst skull.
Yeah.
And would you change ages? You start running out of shit. You start running out of stuff.
So, hear me out. What if we just have like a French vanilla mirror shield?
Well, that's where Hyper's gonna go.
Yeah.
Spirit Temple is the dungeon with the highest amount of items, so you go there. I mean, if it is there, that's 100%. That's the game really sealed, I would say, because I think it's going to take long enough for Xavi to pick up these skulls.
Yeah. I would still check Colossus Ferry before going to Colossus, but that's just me.
This could work. If the Mirror Shield is in shadow, we could be seeing the turntables. You know, Xavi's going to be picking up skulls here in Shadow Temple. He happens to run into the Mirror Shield on this skull routing. So, you know, the fortunes have changed. Outside of Spirit Temple, Shadow is your densest. And Skyreus in the chat coming out with a good point. It might still be Lab Dive. Don't know where this other magic is. I think the chances of it being magic locked are incredibly high at the moment because we really don't have that many checks left. Outside of Shadow, outside of Spirit. Yeah, we're struggling. Unless you want to dip in a water temple. Said no one ever.
But water temple is so much fun. Also,
Yeah, but it's a stone.
Whenever.
Water temple's fine, it's just when it's a stone it's a problem, because there's only 4 items in there. It's just as sparse as Jabu, but it takes longer. At least you got Serenade. Quite literally the worst checks in the game if it's Serenadeless. They do have hovers, yes, but it's sparse. Okay, there's a big in spirits.
Victory.
Disarm mirror. Nope,
Both.
just our last bow. Yeah, the boots quick swap in Rando does make Water Temple a lot nicer. I mean, personally, I quite like water, but when it's a stone, you just don't want it. Yeah, this is a wide open search for an unhinted mirror. You want your stone dungeons to be locked away. You want those hover boots to be locked away. You want that hammer to be locked away. Single one for the completion here.
Slingshot. That opens up target in the woods as a possible check.
Yes, at the moment, the valley path has been matched. Magic's for a key. So, until we find a second magic, magic is path for Spirit Temple. And Xavi's out. I don't know if I was looking at the keys there. That is unfortunate for Xavi, all things considered.
Oh.
It means that's a lot of...
Okay, well, that is
a strength 3. That is a strength 2 locked. Yeah.
So 50 hard required.
It is unfortunate for Xavi that Shadow Temple is locked, because that's what, 2 more skulls? Deep fire to chase those hover boots. Perfect, you need to walk all the way to Fire Temple. There are still a good number of checks in Spirit Temple that could just have French vanilla. Wouldn't be the first time Mirror Shield is on this corridor. Even more money. Hyper joining the 1%. yeah, I very much appreciate Hyper using the lens. An underappreciated item. Still refuse to believe it's slower to blind pull the spinner in Shadow than just use the lens. Just use them.
Okay, we're gonna get some night skull checks here.
I think we might be seeing a fire dip from Xavi.
That would be my guess with that item layout.
Hammer's out. EMC. Fire Temple. It's skulls. Do we see Xavi setting the Scarecrow? But we did not. And there's our long shot. We are rapidly filling out this tracker.
Okay. So that's actually not hook locked.
Not hook locked, but we didn't have any. Yeah, we haven't had any of our hints pointing at hook shot. Yeah, we're about to full clear this required only seed.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had lake, we haven't had the wasteland chest.
We know the chest is dead, but we don't know what the skull is.
Yeah,
I
did
think the chest
the skull
is
the first time through.
So Wasteland is dead.
A Bolero is not achievable because
No.
the keys don't let you do Shadow.
Yep.
As you clip through the gate, this isn't Triforce Blitz. So I think we see Xavi heading to Fire Temple after this to wrap up those remaining skulls. Already saw Xavi walk to fire and then remember that he hadn't set the Scarecrow.
Nine left.
Still 9 skulls he needs. That is a lot of skulls, really.
Yep.
Especially when Hyper is clearing these remaining checks very quickly. Okay, so it's definitely the magic that's...
Oh, that's unfortunate.
The Gerudo are learning. Hyper getting outplayed.
Yep. For anyone who doesn't know, if you shoot a projectile at the Gerudo, they will jump at you, and you can get one wedged
Specifically the
between
hook
you
shot.
and the torch.
Yeah,
I thought you could do it with the
specifically
bow.
hook shot. No, they sidestep the bow.
Oh.
Or attempt to sidestep it. Only the hook shot that makes them jump.
Okay.
I would say it being in fire would be useful for Xavi, but still, 9 skulls is a lot of skulls.
Yep. So we got 2 more chips here. From the song.
Hyper will be dipping out of lake after this, but I don't know if he's got that much else to do other than Fire Temple after this. So they'll just be tracing each other's footsteps, and since Hyper's already ahead, tracing footsteps is good for him. Yeah, that's true. Didn't check the horseback archery skill. Although, once you finish horseback archery, I'm pretty sure if you play Sun Song, it sets you at the horseback archery stand. So I don't think he really has lost that much time.
It's a casual 1640 there. Not the first one. Not the second.
The seconds. Yeah, this is by far the best play for Xavi to get those skulls. Might only be able to get, what, 4 of them? Or 5 actually, no, because Fire has them somewhat early. But still, if Mirror Shield's here, that's still 6 skulls, or 5 or 4 skulls to pick up before he can even access Spirit.
Alright, this is Shadow for Hyper.
It's extra time that Hyper's going to be spending, but not long to get immediately locked out of Shadow Temple.
Yes, GGG is foolish.
Succeed. If Mirror Shield's in deep fire, it's definitely an advantage for Xavi, but I don't think it's... huge enough. It won't fully switch the fortunes. It'll put him back in play, but those remaining 4 skulls you'd need to get incredibly quickly to even this out. But we are getting a lot of early keys. No, keys are in their own dungeons. You can shuffle keys, but they are not in this particular race. Season 3. At least the skulls in Fire Temple are relatively quick. 4 keys in 4. Looks like Deep Fire is available. Now, is there a reason Deep Fire is available? Are we going to be seeing the Mirror Shield up here? this is paying out for Xavi on at least a skull basis. Correct, this is mirror mode. It's mirror mode for us, but Xavi still needs 4 skulls? Even if he gets all 5 from Fire Temple, he still needs 4 skulls. Hyper is out. Also, full clearing as much of Shadow Temple as possible. Overbootsing Gibdo chest. It could have been, you know, this is required only. We wouldn't have known, but it could have been. There's only so much to say at the moment. Hyper is just following where Xavi has already been. Would chuckles if I had ever done a mega flip. Fortunately, I am a law-abiding citizen. So that is another key. That does mean we can clear all of the skulls in Fire Temple. Well, I say clear. Pick up. We already know they're skull tokens. Which is nice for Xavi. And very nice if the Mirror Shield is here. Because Hyper has gone Child, it may be a while until we see him go to Fire Temple. Well, I mean, what you want is if you're a Xavi fan, what you want is to have him find Mirror Shield in Deep Fire. Somewhere after the Scarecrow. Preferably in the Scarecrow chest. In fact, it would be best in the Scarecrow chest, because I don't believe Hyper has set the Scarecrow. Hyper is just leaning out these bean skulls. There's our gold scale.
Yeah.
Already confirmed. Pointless, but...
Also confirms that scale was not our path in Valley. It was the magic.
Exactly. Yeah, they'd still be the fastest for Xavi, but the reason it would be best for Xavi if the Mirror Shield is up here is because A, Hyper is an adult, so isn't going Fire Temple quickly, and also hasn't set the Scarecrow, so would need to go do that as well. At the moment, he's clearing Child, which I believe Xavi has already pretty much cleared Child. So this is extra time. This is extra time for... That's true. Hyper did pick up the long shot. The one item you didn't want to see, but it may actually pay out. There was indeed an emotional support fish that nobody picked up. No emotional support today. Now these here are new checks. These are the Hyrule Castle checks. Nobody's done the fairy or the skull. assuming Xavi peeked the map chest. I was looking at Hyper's screen.
Well, we are going to see worst skull. Well, not worst skull, but probably one of the worst
Second worst
child
skull.
skulls.
Only 2 checks left in fire. There's our boss key. Zero there. It would be, if it is on Volvagia, that would be bad for Hyper. That's another. Higher is Scarecrow locked. To complete. As far as I'm aware, I don't think it was a key on the upper maze. And there's the repeat of 30 being dead. Well, it was a heart container. Nice enough to pick it up. It was, okay, so... It was a key in upper maze. Alright, so Scarecrow is not required. So if the Mirror Shield is here on Volvagia, then Xavi has the length of time to do the... Sorry, Xavi has the length of time it takes Hyper to do Fire Temple, to find his skulls, and then start Spirit Temple. I do not remember getting a... I do not remember getting a Hammer Chest hint. Unfortunately getting Troll Hold on a Volvagia fight. Running low on hearts. Doesn't happen often for such a healthy seed, but... Picked up the ice arrows from Kakariko. Oh, there was a hint, okay. Volvagia with the last bomb. I don't know if that's good resource management or bad resource management. Do we see Xavi hand in Big Pose? Oh, he killed one. It was the... There is the Mirror Shield. Okay.
Okay.
That is... Well, we're in no mode. It's the best case situation for Xavi, but still needs to find those remaining skulls, and Hyper has already done most of Spirit Temple. If Hyper goes Fire Temple right now, it's still going to be close. If he goes Fire right now, I think Hyper still has the advantage.
Hyper's doing...
Cleaning up field, that won't take long. Other than this, what does Hyper have left? You've got to the point where Fire is now your densest location.
Right?
Xavi doesn't have many dense locations either. What is there to do? Dip in ice for the remaining 3. Yeah. Yeah, it's a long way to walk, but it's confirmed skulls. They've already got the GTG skulls, Chuckles. They've got all of them. Yeah. Yeah, honestly. Okay, worst skull is for wind. Don't think we're getting that.
Alright.
It's true.
Fire.
When... Yeah, looks like this is fire. It's getting close. Hyper has to walk to fire and then do all of fire. Xavi, I think, is about to... Is it 46 or 47 skulls? So it's 47. Xavi might have a slight advantage. Slight?
There were a couple in chests too that he didn't thaw. So he might be able to pick up all 50 and the remaining of the 50 in here.
Dude. Spirit Temple, there are skulls in Spirit Temple. I don't think we saw the Spirit boss key, so it will be airlocked. At least as far as I'm aware, we didn't see it. Okay, he's 1 skull short.
And then there's...
Get to 49 here in ice. Oh no, there's one there. Okay, so he's got the 50. So yeah, this is an advantage to Xavi now.
Yeah, and then there's one in the other room too if he wants to go for it.
Yeah, this is 50 in ice. Statue room. Yeah, it could be. It could be. He's done child. That's the nice thing. So it's a relatively straight line. Ooh, that was a close one. Yep, the hammer did matter this time. To be fair, we were running very low on anything that wasn't in a stone dungeon. And fire and water are 2 stone dungeons you really don't want to go into, especially when you don't have Bolero. They are the 2 sparsest adult dungeons. Fire Temple only has 6 items. Water Temple has even fewer with 4. Not particularly fast. The long shot was on the rock skull in Colossus.
Mirrors on Volvagia.
Struggling. There we go. Yeah, with those extra 5 skulls in Fire Temple, it was the ideal situation for Xavi. Any other location, it was very much a struggle. Paper definitely had the edge with the skull routing, but just not on finding that mirror shield. That's true. That is true. There's another Iron Knuckle you might go to. He is only at 2 3/4 hearts, or 1 3/4 hearts. It's got early keys. You may have had to use one of them in Child, so we'll need, what, 4 of them? 4 small keys in the boss key?
Yep. And we
Yeah,
know
4 small
that
keys in the boss key.
one of them is on the right hand.
Yeah, that was key number 5. On the right hand. Is our 3rd bow there? I was wondering if we'd see Xavi pick that up, as I think he's still out of bombs. I don't know how many chews he has left. Yeah, it could have been a much different story if Furor's Wind wasn't literally in the worst place in the game. First place in the game, but we got a hint for it this time. So you're right in that in standard rules, without special quirks like overall skulls, it has a very good shout of being the worst check in the game. That's true. And beyond the Fire Keys and the Iron Knuckles, there's Twin Rova. Far from the only runner to have ever been killed by Twin Rova at any skill level. Doesn't matter whether it's top 32 or bottom 32, Twin Rova can get anyone. Especially if you don't know that if you stand still after getting hit by the fire beam, it drains your hearts incredibly quickly. If you don't move, it can drain somewhere in the region of 9 to 10 hearts within a few seconds. Remember how long it keeps you on fire for. The pauses in the chat, is Xavi gonna survive this Iron Knuckle? He's not going for it. I believe we're not even gonna see the Iron Knuckle. Quickly enough for Hyper, doesn't need to do the Scarecrow. Though I still think the advantage to Xavi is just too big to overcome, even with a death. You'd probably be looking at a death to Twin Rova and maybe one in the Knuckles in Ganon's Castle. And that's just to even it up. Unfortunately, without that, Scarecrow is going to have to go for Pixel Shot, which is, you know, it's faster than going to get the Scarecrow, but it's definitely slower than having the Scarecrow.
Well, we know that this isn't anything either. It's just more time wasted.
Yeah. You're one item from go. You need to do it. You can't skip this. It's just... Especially when you might get immediately key-locked after the bow chest. Smooth pixel shot. Definitely one of the hardest tricks. Okay, so we did see if Xavi would die to a knuckle. Had the mods put a prediction on that. Luckily enough, though, even with a hook shot, he's lowered the lift. He's burnt the face. It's not hard to get back. And dying at the knuckle is still a lot faster than dying on Twin Roba, so he's given himself the grace period of one extra skull, or one extra strike. When I said one extra strike, I meant one extra strike from Twin Roba. Can we get mods in the chat for Xavi obviously stream sniping here? Joining the race chat. That's true, each time he dies he comes back with another heart. That's how you do it. I've never bothered trying to hide in that elbow. The number of times I've died to it, I just don't want to try anymore. The backflip like a 6-year-old child. Once again, we've got synchronized bosses. I think this is the third time we've had bosses synchronized. Both runners facing different bosses at the same time. Hey, it plays the music. Goma's a boss. It does scary music, it's a boss. has killed the snake. And will be hitting his own go mode. One thing to note is that in Ganon's castle there are 2 Knuckles. Xavi did die twice to 1 Knuckle, so we are looking at 4 deaths. Plenty of time. Plenty of time for Hyper to come back. It is unfortunate hitting phase 2 of 2. One thing to note is that the first time Twinrova starts its second phase, it will do 3 of 1 spell in a row. Once you've damaged her once, she will start throwing spells out at random. A large pixel explosion with a kill. At least it's some sort of style there. I think it's any damage, and she'll switch to random spells. I haven't actually tested that, but I think it's any damage at all. It's, you know, it's still not an incredibly unlikely chance for her to do 3 in a row. Some time here with a long shot on the shifting wall. I do enjoy in Master Quest that they knew you would always have the long shot to get there, so therefore they made it a silver rupees puzzle. Yeah, I don't know, I'd need to test it. I'll be honest, it's something I didn't actually care enough about to test out.
And that is the bridge open for Xavi.
It is indeed, and this is Xavi entering at 2:46:27. Somebody write that down, please. Yeah, the skull token on Lax. 51 skulls for the fans, just to make sure. Only seats. Honestly, the required only didn't actually do that much.
No.
Strength 3 wasn't locked away. It's just Strength 2 locked, same as in normal. Oh, we have a big chest. Or do we not have? It must be one of the remaining slingshots.
Wait, Hyper's here? How's that possible? He's still fighting Twinrova. I don't understand.
Yeah, the only thing required only really did in this seed was make you not have to do the entirety of Shadow Temple. It saved time, but didn't change the logic. To be fair, our other magic may well be in Shadow Temple. Because that's still 1, 2, 3, 4. Still 8 items in Shadow Temple. Yeah, we can pretend water's locked out, but the unfortunate thing about water being locked out is that only stops you getting 3 checks. We already had one of them hinted, so it only stops you getting 2 checks. Everything else in water is not key locked. So that is the boss key chest, the longshot chest, and the river chest are the three chests that can be key locked in Water Temple, normally in Required Only. I think there's some weird offshoots where the central pillar can be key locked, but it's very unlikely. And we have another Twin Rover fight with a very icy looking fire. Oh, that's nice. Hyper and Xavi synchronizing up by doing the exact same Twin Rover fight. Quite literally down to the same slash. Second hardest boss in the game, behind King Dodongo. Xavi making up for it, at least with the one cycle dwarf. Big orange sword path for Twin Rover. And both runners hitting all 6 medallions. While it may be a decisive win, it's not really far apart. This is still a close race. You're talking the length of one Ganon's castle. Sort of 7 minutes-ish. 6 minutes. And you're talking about a race that's 3 hours long. It coming down to 6 minutes really isn't that far apart. I'm not talking a buzzer beater with 30 seconds apart, but still, it was anyone's race up until near the end.
Yep, but it all came back to me.
Came down to, really I think Xavi playing for a bit of density in the Mirror Shield ton, while Hyper had routed the skulls a lot better. Just happened that Xavi's last skulls were next to the Mirror Shield. That's going to make the interview awkward, because I know they've both just heard me say that.
How could they hear you? There's no way they were in chat.
And with a time of... Okay, there's multiple times. The time on his screen of 2:52.09, that's Xavi winning game 3 and the set, and is moving on.
GG's.
GG's. GG's, hello.
Oh, he's already here. Okay, so welcome in. Have we got both of you? Let me find.
Yeah, we're both here.
There we go. Okay. So, good games to both of you. How did you find the seed? 50 skull strength.
Minus the mirror. Everything but the mirror.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those two items. It's the boomerang or the mirror.
Yeah, boomerang I found like crazy early. I thought that was a really good find.
Sorry, I was meaning just generally items that are awkward at the end.
Yeah.
Boomerang, you both had relatively early.
Yeah, I felt like I played this one crazy good up until the casino. Like I felt like I had a really, I felt like I had a good lead to be honest. If it's in spirit, like I felt good that it was gonna be my race to win. The longer I didn't find Mirror Shield, the worse I felt. Um, Finding that slingshot in Shadow, that was like the worst because I was going to fire as soon as I got locked out of Shadow, and then I found a sling hovers locked in a potentially path location. And that sent me child. And then the longer I didn't do fire, the more I felt that's where Xavi would be going, because I didn't know if he would find Dins in the ranch. So
Of course I did. I got the
Um,
sling as well.
yeah,
But I
you
forgot
both
to check the
found dins
Zarya's check
at very
actually.
different. You both found dins, but at very different times. So
Who was first on in Shadow then?
You
you
were.
were first in Shadow, but Hyper
Wow.
found the dins a lot earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But you are right. You are right, Hyper. You did have a. Your lead came down to about 9 skulls as you picked up
yeah.
strength.
I mean, that was like that felt like almost the best I've ever played up to that point. So I was like, man, if Xavi's ahead of me right now, then that's crazy because I can't play any better right now.
Yeah, I think what was unfortunate for you was that since Xavi was at 41 skulls, where's the best place to go for skulls?
Yeah,
The
it's
5
really
and 5.
awkward to farm skulls with overworldy skulls. I think it's really annoying to farm 50 skulls.
Yeah, you
Right.
you have to open everything and hit
Yeah.
every skull in every dungeon that you're in.
Yeah, especially when you were going through your Mirror Shield hunt, finding Hammer, then finding the Hover Boots, and then on your side, Hyper finding Shot 2,
That was long
Yeah.
shot.
getting a nice.
Top the Colossus skull on
Oh.
near the fountain.
On the rock.
Oh, wow. Where did I find my hook? Oh god.
You found your hook shot in Lost Woods.
Yeah,
Last words, right,
Colossus,
yeah.
That was the other thing, Hyper. You found the hook shots one child cycle earlier, which did help you with progression, things like Forest Temple, having that done earlier.
Yeah. That damn sling.
Yeah, I just checked it and I saved as an edit and I just checked it and went back to edit.
Yeah. Yeah, I just kept going. Like, I still had bomb shoe bowling and things like that, so I wanted to do some quick ones. I decided I'm not going for the crater skull. I'm like, there's no way you do that, so I'll just leave that too. And then treasure chest game. I thought about doing it, and then I couldn't be bothered. I'm like, I need to get the fire temple. And then when I found the mirror, I was like, this feels like I'm behind now. I've been looking way too long. So I wasn't surprised when you finished when I was in Ganon's.
Yeah. I fucked up my fight so badly. This iron knuckle. Wow. Oh man.
I can't believe we both fucked up Robot the exact same way.
Yeah.
I was just tired, I was thinking about other stuff, and I just forgot
Yeah,
the jump
same.
slash.
Yeah, great seat. Thank you for picking Overworlds, guys. Amazing.
You won't believe me, but I swear this was a random pick.
Yeah.
The game 1 and 2, I picked, like, I chose my picks, and I was just like, oh man, I don't feel like it matters what I pick. Like, it's gonna be a good race, so I'm just gonna go random.
Mm.
And then it was Overworld Skulls.
Nice.
So if you could take me through the you could take us through the how you approached the routing from the very start, because you both diverged at about 15 seconds in.
Yeah.
Oh, did he went to ranch
Um,
first?
Yeah, I went to ranch and skipped back of ranch, so I missed that bow because I don't like
No
doing
way.
back of ranch with Overworld Skulls. So
That's
as soon as I got
actually smart,
prelude, yeah, I went adult straight away. As soon as I got prelude, saved SFM for later.
Speaking of skipping, Xavi, Kakiri sword chest.
Yeah, I don't like that.
again. No, you're crazy.
I did Ocarina minigame this time, okay?
Think of the 80 rupees that you could have saved by picking up that shield.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a Hylian
No.
shield.
Oh god. I guess that's
And I
the
just
time
played
lost then.
Nocturne. I played Nocturne out of there.
Oh, that's
To just do
smart.
chickens quickly and get the skull in. I'm like, try and find a bottle as quickly as possible in Overworld Skulls.
It did look like you passed over a lot of the more common early routing in the hopes of coming back with either the boomerang or a bottle. Is that really the thought behind it?
I don't know. In Overworld Skulls, there's just like you're almost never gonna one-trip Lost Woods. And I kind of like trying to play for Minuet. So if I get Prelude, age changing is not so bad anymore. So I figure I go Adult, and it worked out really well. I got Minuet off the windmill, so that kind of saved me having to walk through SFM and all like Lost Woods and all that. So it just worked this time. Doesn't always work. Overworld Skulls routing gets a little bit funky.
Yeah, Xavi had the progression advantage earlier, but when it got to the sort of middle of the seeds and to hit these locations a bit more than you did, you cleared them in fewer visits.
Yeah. I only made one mistake. I thought I was Mirror from Go, and then I found the magic in Gerudo Valley, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I need magic still. So that's like why I kind of skipped straight to Valley.
Yeah, that makes sense. We thought it was an aggressive play, especially skipping the Wasteland Skull on the way. If it's any consolation, we remembered that magic was a possibility 2 or 3 separate times, because we forgot it multiple times. Commentary. Oh, are there any questions from the chat? You've all been very quiet. Is there stunned
What
into
happened?
silence?
My question is, what happened to Oak? Wasn't Oak on comms? Did he pass out?
No, there were more than 2 comms.
Okay.
Oak's just not degen enough.
I'm surprised we got a restream. This time's crazy. AU versus EU is just horrible time for most people.
Yeah. I mean, normally I don't sign up for things at 9, but no, it's nice to get. It's nice to get people who often don't get restreamed. So,
Yeah.
an EU Australia one every now and then.
Yeah, that was a sick race. Xavi has to go on and win it now, though. I don't lose to anyone but champions, so
Oh, okay.
as pressure's on now.
Yeah, no problem. I got this.
Easy.
Easy.
But no, in that case, you are right. It was a very good race. It was enjoyable. Even if required only didn't factor into it that much, the Overworld Skulls definitely gave it a good bit of extra flavor. So, someone in chat put the commands to put the people's channels on, because I can never remember what they are.
They are not that long.
There we go. Thank you, Trez. So, thank you to everyone who helped put this restream on. So, thank you to our 2 trackers, Lady Draco and Blue Roses for You. Thank you to the runners, Xavi and Hyper, for letting us put this on. Thank you to Trez for restreaming this for us, making sure that things come up on the screen. And thank you to the commentators, New IT Guy, and, thank you to me for commentating as well.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you to you as well. I tried for 2 minutes to get my headset to work. Just making fun of you for not remembering commands that only have 1 letter in them. But, how it goes at this time of day. Thank you all so much for watching. Big shoutouts to our crew again, to our 2 comms, to New IT Guy, and to... I'm gonna say the correct nickname that I see in Discord right now, to KLO1313. Okay? Just say Barry. And to Lady Draco and to Blue Roses. And of course, to our racers, I hope you all had a blast with this wonderful dress feed. The best possible near shield location in the world that Hyper, I'm sure, is going to agree with. Or not. But yeah, I hope you all had a blast. We're going to be back with more action for S7 today and in the next few days. Good luck, Xavi, next with the match against Drew in the next round. That's going to be a fun one. And that's all for now. Thank you all for watching. Take it easy. And bye-bye.